मेरा नाम उत्तम वर्मा है और मैं असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर हूँ गवर्नमेंट डीके कॉलेज बलौदा बाजार में।
I am Dr. Shubhanku Kocha. I teach English literature in Guru Gobind Singh Indraprasth University.
और उसके अलावा शायद आप लोगों को पता चल पा रहा हो कि नहीं, मैं देख नहीं सकता, आई एम कम्प्लीटली ब्लाइंड।
People with disability are always marginalized. They are always at the lowest possible bottom. So whatever are their needs are not taken into proper consideration, be it social life, be it political life, be it religious life, be it cultural life. When it comes to news industry, for a very long time, media houses remained totally, they did not accept the needs of persons with disability. That how would they, because they were not part of that potential market. As I told you, that it is more about mindset.
क्योंकि वेबसाइट्स में हम जो है नेविगेट करते हैं स्क्रीन रीडर के थ्रू, तो यहाँ पर ज़रूरी ये हो जाता है कि हमारे जो स्क्रीन रीडर्स हैं वो जो है प्रॉपरली हमारे को पढ़ के चीज़ों को सुना दे। तो ऐसी स्थिति में जो न्यूज़ में इंडिया में बहुत ज़्यादा हमको डिस्पैरिटी नज़र आती है।
Most of our websites, most of our applications of national dailies actually are inaccessible. That's why I prefer reading news through either newslaundry or other counter kind of applications.
न्यूज़ लॉन्ड्री को मैं बहुत पहले से फॉलो कर रहा हूँ और जब मेरी पहली स्कॉलरशिप आई तो मैंने पहली बार न्यूज़ लॉन्ड्री को सब्सक्राइब किया।
I used to listen to your podcast through third-party applications like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, sometimes YouTube. In your podcast, it was always announced that go to our website, go to our app. Then one day I decided to go to your app, go to your website, and I found it totally inaccessible. Then I immediately dropped an email to Chitranshu, writing that this is the problem I'm facing. I'm not able to use your website. Then he immediately got connected, gave his number, and through voice notes, through emails, through messages, and through phone calls, I explained to him what I mean by accessibility.
News Laundry English. Home. Selected. Tab.
This app actually is divided into
Podcast.
4 subsections, which are loud and clear. Podcast, accessibility, and menu.
3 tabs. This is home tab, this is podcast tab, and this is accessibility tab.
Accessibility.
It all started when we got a few emails about how inaccessible our app and website were. One of those emails in particular stood out. It was from a blind student who couldn't access our platform despite paying for it. And that really hit us hard because this was someone who was a subscriber and had actually paid money to support the kind of work that we do. And honestly, up until then, we all had the same kind of biases most people have when it comes to disability. Thankfully, there's a ton of information and research online to address that kind of ignorance. We also spoke with disabled users, accessibility experts. We read up accessibility guidelines and also looked up the kind of work global news platforms have done to make their platforms accessible. Accessibility is easy if you factor it in from day one, but we were dealing with an 11-year-old tech stack where we had never really looked at accessibility. So fixing that was a nightmare. Even before we could sort of think about implementing features and controls that make a platform accessible, we had to restructure and rewrite a lot of our front-end code. We got selected for the GNI Innovation Challenge. That really helped us get a team of engineers and developers who could work on the project. The kind of tech talent which sometimes is difficult to find in an independent newsroom of our size. This wasn't a one-person job. It did take a village. Our team of developers, Rishabh, Aditya, Danish, Dhananjay, Yatharth, and my colleagues Rishabh and Prachi, who worked really hard to make this happen.
Frankly speaking, 1 year back, it was a disaster. But now, you'll be happy, I'm happy that I use only News Laundry when it comes to, the consumption of news. Because there is no other app that gives me similar kind of satisfaction.
Since we launched, we now have more than 50,000 users using these accessibility settings across our website and app. And mind you, a lot of these features, stuff like reader mode, podcast transcript, help everyone and not just disabled users.
We've received heartwarming feedback from users with disabilities about how these changes have made it easier to access our journalism. But beyond that, what really encourages us is the wider media coverage our accessibility journey has received. including a feature in Neiman Lab profiling our journey. But here's what matters even more. Our work has sparked a larger conversation about the need for accessible news platforms. Earlier this year in August, something significant happened. The Court of the Chief Commissioner of Persons with Disabilities issued a suo motu notice to 6 of India's leading news websites for not being accessible. Since then, several media organizations have reached out to us, asking us how they can make their platforms more accessible. This just goes to show if we, as a small independent team, can do it, so can others.
And what's even better, we now have more subscribers joining in since we made our website accessible, demonstrating that accessibility doesn't just make a better product, it's good business as well.